Welcome back to Tom's World Scale Model Series. In this episode, we unbox Tamiya's 1/35th scale Panzer 38t Ausführung EF. If you enjoy programming on scale modeling, then show your support by subscribing to this channel. Leave us a comment, like, dislike, or share the video with friends. Clicking the notification bell gives you alerts when we post new content, or visit the channel Tom's World for a friendly visit for a complete list of all our videos. With the annexation of Czechoslovakia in 1938-39, the invading Germans absorbed the advanced Slovak arms industry. Among the treasure trove was the CKD-ST version 38. The little tank was rushed into service and redesignated as the Panzer 38t, and it served alongside German panzers throughout the campaigns in Poland, France, and Russia. Although the vehicle was obsolete by 1942, its modified chassis remained in service as the Marder III, the Panzer 38t, and the Grill Mobile Artillery. So good was the chassis design that it remained in service with the Swedish Army as a troop carrier until the early 70s. Stay with us as we unbox Tamiya's expertly engineered and molded homage to this handsome little early war battle wagon. So welcome back and thank you so much for joining me again today. Well, we've got the Tamiya 1/35th scale Panzer 38t Ausführung or Execution EF to look at today. It's a new kit making the rounds, so I thought it'd be kind of nice to have a look at it. It's going to be kit number 35369. It is labeled as a new release as of November 2019. Retails for about $45 Canadian, $34 US, and it is an initial release new tool. Alright, so a quick measurement of the box. It's going to be 11.5 inches by 29 centimeters. Just to give you guys an idea of the size, it's going to be 7.5 inches by 19 centimeters, and tall-wise about 2 3/8 by 6 centimeters. So not a huge box. Well, not a big vehicle, so. Alright, so there it is. It does contain one little PE part. That's going to be the engine grill, which is advertised on the cover. And the box art, as always, is superb. And Tamiya's kind of maintained the same style, this kind of, hand-painted, realistic style. The vehicle is isolated on white, and they haven't changed this box art style in many, many years. Now, what's nice about Tamiya is what's on the box is usually what's in the box, except for one exception. But basically what you see is what you get, even down to the stowage of the German helmet and the jerry cans, and of course that magnificent figure. With the exception of the antenna, although it's depicted here, it is not in the box, which is kind of odd, but not the end of the world. So the side of the box, well, this side's not too exciting. It's just a repeat, kind of a box style, just so when it sits on a shelf, we know what it is. But on this side, we get a couple of different versions, and we do get the option of two different markings, and they're both German units serving in the Russian campaign, and they're both decked out in sort of that early war Panzer gray. And there's a lot of controversy on the colors. Of course, that's been raging in the modeling community for years because the period photos I've seen, that Panzer gray is very dark. It's almost black. But, black vehicle's not going to look great. So the trend is that people have been sort of tinting their grays up a little bit and modulating them and even adding a little bit of a blue tint. And so a lot of variation on that. And we do have a lot of latitude with the paint, so. And the other different, what I did want to say is that I think that I'm kind of leaning towards doing a whitewash chipped with hairspray, kind of a white camouflage scheme, just as a homage to the Russian campaign. That's kind of what I'm leaning towards in our build, but we'll see how that goes. The other differentiator, in addition to its markings, is the machine gun. It's kind of hard to see, but this version has the bow machine gun, whereas on this side, this version does not. It just gives us that little plate cover on the bow-mounted machine gun there. So we have to kind of decide which one we want to build. And, for me, it's a tank, so the more guns, the better. So, all right, let's get that focus back again so we're nice and sharp here. So there it is. Alright, so normally before we crack the box, we would do a little section on a product line, but because this is the only 1/35th scale Tamiya release of the 38t, that's not going to work for us. So we're going to do just a little contrast to compare with some other manufacturers that have released the 38t. Tamiya has a single 1/35th scale release of the 38t, although the company launched a 1/48 scale version in 2015. The 1/48 is pure Tamiya, and by all accounts is an equally impressive offering as its big brother. Italeri had a number of releases in the 70s and in 1980, two of these in partnership with Revell and Testers. These kits are discontinued, rare and hard to find. Italeri retooled the vehicle and released a very interesting version with an SDK of Z222 turret in 2007. The kit is easy to track down and retails for about $30 US. From 2010 to 2017, Dragon produced 3 variants of the 38. These are typical Dragon releases and come with quite a bit of PE, magic tracks, amazing detail, and high part counts. These are premium kits and come at a premium cost, with the new release priced at $65 US. I've noticed the Hobby Boss line. These kits are an amazing value and are perfect for the advanced builder looking for a challenge in excess of the Tamiya product. The 2016 boxing comes with individual track links, clear parts, photo etch, and a complete interior. Remarkably, the astute shopper can find this Hobby Boss release for a lower cost than Tamiya's price. Other manufacturers, including TriStar, have produced 38 kits, but their availability varies. But the Tamiya release is the newest kit, and arguably it's the easiest to build. Perfect for beginners, young modelers, or even veterans who want a brisk build to get to painting and weathering in short order. Alright, so time for the exciting part, the unboxing. I've opened up a million model boxes in my time, but I still get that pang of excitement every time I open up a new kit. It reminds me of being a kid at Christmas, because of course that's when Mom and Dad would buy a model for me. So here we go. Oh, look at that. And like I always say, so many models, so little time. So just be aware, it's not going to be packaged exactly the same way as I got it here because I've been rummaging through here. But let's get everything out and kind of arrange it here so we can see the contents. So we do get 7 sprues, give or take around 245 parts. There's our PE and our decal sheet. And we get a little bit of paperwork at the bottom, which usually fights me when I try to take it out, but this time it's going to cooperate. And it might seem a little bit excessive that each sprue is put in plastic, especially in these sort of environmentally conscious times. But it's important because if anything comes loose in shipping, we don't want to lose these little parts. So I think I always appreciate that when everything is individually wrapped. And the box was shrink wrapped. I know we make a big deal about that, but that again assures that it's new and everything is factory fresh. So here it is, again, 7 sprues. And it's kind of got the Goldilocks thing going. Not too many parts, not too many, not too few, just about right. And we can see that for, the $45 Canadian that we spent for it, we're not paying for a ton of plastic or the metal. What we're really paying for is the kit engineering and those superb instructions. So that's really what the investment is in this kit. And we're going to see in the build that this thing's going to just fall together absolutely carefree. So there's the contents as what we get. And I'm just going to take a moment, get all the sprues out of the plastic, and let's have a look at the paperwork. So we get a little paperwork in the kit. This little tip sheet starting to show up in some of the newer Tamiya kits. It's a little pedestrian, but if you're new or a younger model, definitely worth a little read. There's lots of pictures and it's very clear, and they're hawking Tamiya materials and things, and that's totally fine because Tamiya tools and materials are absolutely fantastic, so you can't go wrong, really. We get a little fold-out sheet here, just black and white, in various languages with a little illustration, some photographs, and it gives us a little write-up on the history of the vehicle. And I always like to read. It kind of sets the tone for the build. And I'm a bit of a tech wonk, so I like reading this kind of stuff. And then finally, the instructions, pretty straightforward. I'm going to zoom in and we'll get closer, but very, very traditional Tamiya sort of, stapled booklet, very clear. And Tamiya kits the instructions are renowned. They're so clear, so well put together. I hate to pick on Dragon, but Dragon instructions, they jam way too much into each step, and sometimes parts are mislabeled or missing altogether. And in all the years I've been building Tamiya kits, I don't think I've ever encountered a single error in Tamiya instructions. I might be wrong. Maybe there's one somewhere out there, but I'll tell you, I don't remember any errors. So let's get a little bit closer and have a look. We get the box art, of course, for that beautiful painting, some of the tools at the bottom. And something unusual for Tamiya kits, we've got parts that are not used. So that's interesting. Now, one knock on Tamiya instructions is you don't get a sprue map. If I had a sprue map, I'd know exactly what parts those were, but I have to kind of rummage through the different steps to find these parts. But unusual for Tamiya, so we do have some unused parts. And here we have to decide which version we're going to do with or without the hull-mounted machine gun. Now, one thing I do want to discuss is that normally in the old days, the old Tamiya kits were much more simplified. They'd have the bathtub hull and probably the one-piece turret. But here we're seeing lately with some of these better, newer Tamiya kits, they're getting a little bit more deep into the construction. So here we're building it up. And what's interesting is they're using butt joints. If we contrast that to the FD17 that we built with those compound motor joints, we can see right away that this construction is much easier. And here's a Tamiya Magic. They give you these fantastic witness marks or build aids. So this thing's going to just fall together. That version EF, here's that extra armor it looks like on the chin, so that's kind of interesting. And if you remember, we griped about the lack of a cross-member piece on the FT17. It kind of gave us a flimsy construction. Here we can see Tamiya identified that problem. They're putting in a nice beefy cross-member, so that's fantastic. I bet you that's just going to fall together. That's great. So in this step here, we're just making the top of the hull, front and back plates, and the back, which is kind of interesting. I bet that's where the starter crank gets put in, and that's just like that FT17. So that's how you start the tank, I think. Okay, so we got the engine grill going down here, our little P part getting dropped here. And see here again, it's almost Dragon-esque. In the old days, Tamiya would have cast the axles and the suspension right onto the hull, but kind of this value added, more complex building that the newer Tamiya kits are starting to lean towards. Here we're building everything up here, so that's kind of interesting. But again, very clear instructions to get us the alignment. So this is kind of nice because it's again a little bit more complex than the old days. And I'm kind of glad Tamiya is heading in that direction. And here's a very astute kit engineering because they give you the poly caps, and that's important when we try to put in that link and length track. We want to be able to churn that to be able to align these links, so that's fantastic that we get those poly caps there. And we can also remove the wheels, paint them, and then slap them on. That's very, very handy. Now, to our great relief, we've only got 4 big, huge road wheels per side. What a relief, and a couple of return rollers only, and our drive sprocket and idler. So, great relief from the FT17, which had, I think, 18 wheels plus 10. So, in the past, that Hummel and everything else. So, we're kind of happy that there's not too many wheels in this kit. That's part of the allure of it, by the way. Pay attention because the wheels are kind of interleaved. I think you'd have no problems getting those in, but just be aware that you have to slip those in there like that. So be careful about the gluing. I wouldn't glue any of those parts on. Maybe the road wheel. Here's the length and link track. And I don't know if it's just characteristic to Tamiya. I don't know too many other manufacturers that use this system, but it's kind of a compromise between individual track links and rubber style tracks. We get larger lengths and we do have the sag built in. And then we just have to wrap around the individual links around the 2 drive sprockets and idlers. And some people don't like the system. I think it's a great compromise. Again, I'm not sure if it's just Tamiya, exclusive to Tamiya. I can think of maybe one other brand that might have used this, but it's pretty exclusive to Tamiya. But again, the magic of Tamiya instructions, very clear. Looks like to me 1-to-1 scale, just so you get that track on properly. Front view and side view, fantastic. Just the fenders going in. We're on step 8 now. Not too many steps. Very clear instructions, and here we have to kind of decide whether we're going to put in that hull-mounted machine gun. Alright, so the plate going in there. Now, interestingly enough, the engine cover looks like they cast it separately with little hinges on it, so maybe we can pose that open, but this kit doesn't have any engine or interior. Not sure about aftermarket at this time, but would require some little beautification there on the inside, some scratch building, if you wanted to pose that open and maybe put an engine in it. So that might be something interesting for the future. Just a couple of tool racks, a no-tech a running light. We're not going to play guess the parts, but looks like a crowbar. And just our extra track links going in, our towing hooks. Just more odds and ends. Pretty straightforward. And what's interesting is that the toolboxes, those holes are cast into the plastic. Some manufacturers do that with PE, but to Tamiya's credit, those are cast in there. I think in one of the other premium kits, maybe in the Dragon one, those are solid, and they probably give you PE. But to Tamiya's credit, those are cast with the holes in. There's the jacks and jerry cans going in. It's nice that you get these little accessories. And I can see that the muffler is 2P, so we're going to have to watch our seam on that one. There are the machine guns going in, and it is not a true coax mantlet machine gun because it does swivel. So it's kind of interesting. We're not using glue there, so we can swivel that, and that's kind of nice for photography when you can pose things slightly. The gun, same story, 37mm. Long gun, tank rifle. And again, watch what you glue on. It might have even a poly cap there, which looks like. So it can swivel up and down. That's nice for photography. So we're just finishing up the gun there. It gives us a little bit of detail because I guess if you pose that top hatch open, you want to kind of see some forms inside. And see here again, more complex build-up. In the old days, Tamiya would have cast this as a single part, but almost Dragon-esque where they're using 3 parts. And again, those glorious butt joints, which would be really easy. And it looks like there's good witness sparks, so I bet you that's just going to fall together. In contrast and compared to that FT17, which was that faceted multi-part design with compound motor joints. Thank you, Tamiya. And here again, Dragon-esque, reminiscent, more build values. We're building up that cupola with a number of parts. That's very unlike Tamiya. So this is kind of the trend that has been emerging in the newer Tamiya kits. And but solid plastic on the periscopes. I much more prefer the Dragon clear ones because you can paint those up beautifully. So there's that. Step 21 already, but they're very simple steps. We get the guy and we get color callouts for him, and we do have a couple accessories. Looks like a pistol holster and the headset, which is nice. And you're not supposed to wear the headset over both ears, by the way. Non-combat, but at rest like this, it's okay. We'll have to put the wire in. It doesn't come with any wire, and then we just slap the turret on the hull, and then we can see that it'll rotate, which is fantastic for photography. And then posing the guy, a couple of accessories, the helmet and the canteen. And again, a couple of straightforward early German gray paint schemes. 19th Panzer Division, Russia, 1941. Number 552, and this is the one with the gun in it, the machine gun in the bow. And that's the other unit. That's going to be 7th Panzer Division, Russia, 4142 without the machine gun. So, starting with the smaller items, we get this little sheet of decals, and they look good in general. I like the 522, almost looks hand-painted. I find Tamiya decals a little thick for my taste, but we'll see how they conform to this kit. We can always use a little bit of softener if we have to. And the Balkenkreuzes look fine. I'm going to, if I have time, maybe spray on the Balkenkreuzes with masking and an airbrush. We'll see if I have time. So there those are. And I mean, if they prove to be a little bit stiff, we can always just put a little bit of softener on them. So there they are there. Not usually any problems. And then we get a little PE sheet. Nah, it's not brass. It looks fantastic, by the way. It's not brass, maybe mild steel, maybe even aluminum, I'm not sure. But what is nice is in the old days, the engine grills normally didn't come in the Tamiya kits. And used to have to buy them separately aftermarket. And Tamiya did release those separate grills for the Panther and the Tiger. But now we're starting to see these little value-added parts appearing in the base kits. And it probably contributes a little bit to the creeping price that we've seen in Tamiya kits lately, but I'm glad it's included in the kit. It looks fantastic. One gripe I have about Tamiya's packaging are the staples that they still use. They're kind of hard to get off, and if one flies off into the carpet or on the floor, it does become a bit of a hazard. I wish Tamiya would just use the nice sticky resealable bags that other manufacturers use. So we get 2 times this sprue, which is our running gear and other odds and ends. And each of these sprues is actually 2, A for Alpha and P for Papa. So on closer inspection, we see expert molding. I mean, the bolt detail there is really crisp and nice. And notice that the very delicate sprue gauge, definitely a sign of modern molding. And the burr, well, that little parting mark there, not bad. So this is good quality molding, absolutely. Look at how sharp the gas mask containers are. Those look great. And the little periscopes. And here we've got the jerry cans, and we can see that the lettering is there, which is very nice, very crisp. And tiny little parts. Looks like the caps for those jerry cans. And a couple of the little canteens, and the helmets. Well, they're done well. No flash that I can see. And here are the tracks. And the detail looks great. And we've got our sag, which is very nice. And I'm just looking for the burring on the track, and, well, I don't even see it from this angle, so it's really good. Now, if we flip it over, we do see, well, very subtle knockout pins. There's one right where my finger is. Let's see if I can't get it in the light. There we go. But it's very subtle. Can always use our secret weapon, mud, right, and weathering. We'll dry fit that, and we'll see if that actually needs to even be cleaned up, so. And, well, look at the base machine gun. The ridges look great. Boy, look at how they molded that. That looks fantastic. But it is solid on the end. Not the end of the world. That's easy to fix, but still looks really good. Almost looks metal-like in this dark gray plastic that this is cast in. And, look at that little wheel. It's really nice, very delicate. So have to be careful with that. Now, sometimes we like to kind of wonk out on the labeling on these sprues, and I think we're going to avoid that this time. And this is why. See, if we look at this sprue, it's got a bunch of these kit numbers, and these are for sure the Tamiya Martyr kits and possibly the Panzer 38t. But People say, and I've read in forums and even in articles, that these molds are similar to all these Martyr 3 kits. And my sense is that it's not. These look modern and new, either made dedicated to the 38T kit, or the other thing is if they've used it out of those other molds, they've definitely cleaned them up. My sense is they're probably new molds. Either way, superb molding, and this T38 looks great so far. Then we get two of these, J for Juliet. They're identical, just more of our track, and we'll have a little bit closer look at these just right now, really quick. So if we go in tight, we can see that the molding looks great. No problems there. And the burrs on the side, the parting lines, well, I can't even see any there. So that looks fantastic. And but on the back, we do have those very shallow knockouts. If I can actually get them in the light, you can just see it there where my finger is barely. And I'm not even sure we're going to have to clean those up. We'll have to dry fit that and see if we actually even have to clean them up. On the little individual ones, we can kind of see them. But again, just great detail. And I really don't mind these length and link tracks. Yeah, they look great. No problems there. So two of those, J for Juliet. The kit comes with 4 poly caps, which is a little confusing because originally I thought I might have been missing one. But only the drive sprockets get a poly cap. The idlers, for whatever reason, don't get one. You need 1 poly cap for the gun, so for some reason you get an extra one. So that's a little bit confusing. Don't think that you're missing one. I'm not sure why they didn't include one in the idler wheel, but there it is. And you don't get any extras in the box. Well, I guess you get one extra if you could lose one, but you know, keep them safe so you don't lose them. Next up, we get one of these sprues. That's going to be D for Delta, and that's our turret components. And let's just get in a little bit closer here on this. And we can see that the bolt detail on the side of the turret is nice. It's going to wash very nicely. It's going to hold the wash very nicely. We can do some of our weathering work there. Very nice bolt detail. And we can see here that the toolboxes, the holes are there. I don't know if we have to clean those holes up. They look pretty good. On the inside, we've got some knockout marks, but it doesn't matter. Where are those? There they are. So we can see the holes are hollow. So that's great. They don't give us PE like some kits do. It's just done in plastic. We don't have to worry about hollowing out the holes. There's a little 37mm gun. Nothing fancy on that guy. No muzzle brake, just a little bit extra metal as a counterweight. But we can see that it is slide molded, which is nice. So we don't have to hollow that out. So that's modern molding. Very nice. And just some of the gun components. I think that's the driver's or the possibly the radio operator's periscope maybe. Little bits of our gun sight, I guess, and the breech. Yeah, very nice. Good molding. Yeah, very nice. And what else do we have on here of interest? Well, that's about it for that one. Yeah, no problems there. All right, so we get one of those, and again, that's D for Delta. And that's followed by 1 times this sprue. This is going to be B for Bravo. It's got your fenders, your upper decking. Little figures on there, some of the toolboxes, the front plate, the slope, and the muffler. And let's have a little bit closer look at this one. I just want to see that figure. And from all accounts, that figure's been really popular with people, and I can see why. That pose is fantastic. And yeah, I mean, Tamiya figures are always good. Never have any problems with their figures. Might need a little bit of filler, but not bad at all. Our little sort of early war, Panzer Division uniform. And there's the front slope. A little bit of bolt detail, which is kind of nice. And the guy's headphones look great. Oh, he's got binoculars. We didn't see those in the instructions. Those look good. Be nice if those were casting clear for the lenses on the end. So that's one thing that Tamiya is a little bit behind Dragon is the clear parts. And Hobby Boss too has clear parts. The fenders, nothing really remarkable. Fenders are a little thick. You know, if there's not aftermarket now, there probably will be some PE fenders. They're a little thick. And they will have the knockouts on the back, but that's okay. I mean, if we really were inclined, I guess we could thin the fenders down a little bit. And if they are thin sheet steel, it might be nice if they're dented up a little bit. I haven't seen too many pictures of the dented up fenders, and they're the engine covers, and I think we can pose those open if we were so inclined, but that would take a little bit of extra work to get the interior gussied up so we can see inside it, because of course the kit has no interior. So there's the muffler. I mean, really no problems there at all. We got to know that these parts are just all going to fit together beautifully. And that detail there, those hinges, they look good. Yeah, that's nice. And there's another hinge detail. That looks good. Yeah, no problems there. So we get one of those, and again, that's going to be a B for Bravo. Let me just get that in focus. And finally, we get 1 times this sprue, and that's going to be C for Charlie. And hard to believe we're already through the sprues. I mean, if we were reviewing a Dragon kit or a Meng or say a Hobby Bus, we'd still be, have a half a box of sprues left. But that's it for the sprues. And this is just your hull components, obviously, and just some odds and ends. And we'll just go a little bit closer in here just to see some of the detail. And very nice detail on the hull sides. That detail is deep and nice and crisp and very nice. And when we run our finger over that, that is sharp. So very nice, no problems there. Here's the bottom, and it's nice that Tamiya didn't neglect that bottom. And what's nice about this is we can practice our weathering and our painting on the bottom without incurring any errors or any penalties with respect to errors in case we make any mistakes. So looking very nice, and just that discoloration there, that's nothing to worry about. I think how it's been explained is that as the plastic is injected on either side, the temperature varies slightly, and when the two sort of oozes make contact, they make that little mark, but absolutely no problem. Once you paint that, you don't see it. So very nice bolt detail. And one thing I did want to say, it's been really hard to shoot this gray plastic because it just, if you notice, I've got very high key lighting on here. But I really have to have that, otherwise you wouldn't see anything. Shooting gray blobs of plastic is tough. Hate to whine, sorry gang, that's production griping. But no-tech distant light looks fantastic as all the Tamiya kits do. And there's a formation light, very nice. And well, some of the grill detail there. And now I want to come a little bit closer on the jack block just so we can see the texture detail, because it's quite nice. Let me see if I can't pull that focus. And coming a little bit closer, we can see it's got that wood texture, which is very nice. Now, sometimes they don't carry it down the side. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to catch that, but I can't tell from the angle. The lighting's poor, but it doesn't matter, but looks great. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Look how delicate that little, what is that? Little eye bolt or something. Very nice. And then that sort of undercut grill. That looks great. No problems there at all. And again, not an overabundance of parts, just right, just enough to give you details, but not overwhelm you with parts. And that's looking really great. Some of the extra armor that differentiates this EF model, that looks great. Boy, I like that. And again, that sort of bolt, sort of interwar design, boxy design, really attracted me to that kit. Now, I'm not sure what that part is. I think that's for possibly the radio operator's little sight, so he can help align the machine gun, the bow gunner's fire. I don't know, something like that. Now, oddly enough, the kit does not come with the antenna, so we're either going to need to go aftermarket or build a custom one. This is not the antenna. This is actually, looks like a crowbar. Maybe we can put that up as an antenna in a pinch. Well, the antenna mount is there, but no antenna, so that's something we're going to have to build. So very odd to me. I don't know why you didn't include the antenna, but there it is. And that'll do it for this unboxing of the Tamiya 1/35th scale Panzer 38t. Join us again for upcoming model unboxing and build videos, or check out our library of past episodes. Please take a moment to subscribe to our channel, leave us a like, dislike, or comment below the video. Until next time, keep building, stay well, and all the best.